10 things I do not like about the United States. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. This video, I want to talk about 10 things that I do not like about the US, 10 things I do not like about the great country that I come from. And first off, I do want to say I am proud to be a US passport holder. It's definitely a privilege. And also, I love my country. I can think of maybe one other country I might want to go live in, but at the same time, like I said, I still love my country because that's where I'm from, that's what I know. And yeah, so these are in no order at all. I just thought of 10 things that I don't like about the US. First off, let's talk about education. Why is college so expensive in the US? I mean, why is college so expensive? One thing that I noticed about college in the US versus college in Europe, usually it takes people anywhere from 4 to 5 years to get a bachelor's degree in the US, but however in Europe it takes people about 3 years to get a bachelor's degree. Now, you guys may think, well, it's only a couple year difference, but let's just think about one thing really fast. Let's think about loans. So if you're taking out loans to pay for school, well, if you go to school for 3 years, that is so much better than going to school for 5 years. I mean, think about it. With 5-year loans, that's an extra 2 years that you're borrowing money that you're not paying that principal down. So that's one thing I don't like about the U.S. Education. Why is college so expensive? Why? I mean, honestly, it should not be this expensive. Gosh, computers and cell phones, when they first came out, they were crazy, crazy expensive. And guess what? Over time, the prices came down, but not for education. It tends to always go up. Honestly, I really don't think education is for everyone in the US. I really think education is just better off for people who have lots and lots of money. And if you're super poor, you can probably get scholarships, but that's just not a guarantee when you are competing with someone who has tons and tons of money to just afford that school, when this other person over here who's got to work really hard, write all these letters and just cross their fingers that they can get a scholarship so they won't have to be an indentured servant for, the rest of their life. Yeah, that's just the first reason. Second thing I don't like about the United States, healthcare. Why is healthcare so expensive? In so many countries in Europe, when you pay taxes, that goes to healthcare. Not in the US. When you pay taxes, that just goes to, I guess, fund the roads that they don't usually fix all the time. Also, when you're in the 99% in the US, all of your tax money goes to, I guess, offset all the money that the top 1% don't pay. So healthcare is just a really crappy thing in the US versus so many other countries in Europe, versus so many other countries around the world. I mean, people literally go bankrupt just because they can't afford to go to the doctor. Literally people go bankrupt. That's ridiculous. And this situation does not happen in most countries around the world. Okay, reason number 3, public transportation and getting around the US. Oh man, people question me all the time. They say, Jermaine, you always go to New York, you always go to San Francisco, and you always go to Los Angeles, and every now and then I'm in Santa Barbara. People always wonder, why don't you go to other parts in the US? Why don't you go in the middle of the country? One reason why I don't like to go to the middle of the country is because it's not really easy to get to unless you have a car. And let's say if I fly into a place where I'm probably going to need a car once I get to that location, and you just basically need a car everywhere. It's car culture, all throughout the US. You really would not want to take a train or a bus, and it just should not be that way. But how our infrastructure is built up, everyone just drives, and it's just so much easier just to drive. I know people that literally, they'll get in their car and drive to their mailbox because their front yard is that big. I mean, come on, it's not that big that they have to get into a car and drive. But yeah, I know so many people say, oh, well, I don't want to leave my car way over there and walk to the mailbox and walk all the way back. So it's just car culture, public transportation. It just sucks if you're not in a major city. Also, in a lot of major cities like Los Angeles, public transportation is not that great. However, it tends to work okay when I'm in LA. Me, I'm a huge fan of public transportation. I haven't ridden in a car in about, 5 weeks now. So I'm cool on that. I like taking public transportation, buses, trains, planes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So reason number 4, 2 weeks paid vacation. Yo, what is up with this? Why I just don't get this. So many companies will only give you 2 weeks off a year. This is one reason why I'm self-employed. This is one reason why I do not have a job. Just because I just think it's a bummer that you have to work all year, all year you work and you only get 2 weeks paid vacation, when in a country like Germany people get like, oh gosh, they get like 8 weeks paid vacation. And if you have a baby in the US, I mean, faternity leave, in a lot of European countries, women get to take off 9 months, and the father gets to take off like a month too. How great is that? The father and the mother can take off and spend time together to, welcome their newborn baby. Not in the US. Father, you gotta go to work. Mom, we might give you a month off if you got a decent job. Maybe if you got a real good job, maybe we'll give you 2 or 3 months off, but that's just usually not the case for a lot of people in the US. You just don't get a lot of time off, like, 2 weeks a year. If you have a kid, you might get a month, but yeah. Reason number 5, Americans are paranoid. What am I talking about when I say Americans are paranoid? Okay, whenever I travel, I notice that I have a few people on my Facebook news feeds. They say things like, be careful, be safe, watch your surroundings. Will you be safe where you're going? Is this a dangerous place where you're going? Are you going to a dangerous place? Why are people so afraid? I get it. In the US, you cut the TV on, there's a murder, there's a shooting, there's a robbery, there's a car break-in, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. And when you constantly watch that stuff on TV all the time, it just makes you paranoid. And so many people in the US are crazy paranoid. Earlier this year when I was traveling in Israel, I was hanging out with a local, and I was hanging out with a handful of other Americans, and gosh, the Israeli was making so much fun of us. He was just making so much fun. He was like, look guys, we live in a war-torn country, and you guys are from the US. You guys are much, much more paranoid than we are. And it's so true. Like, literally, all of us were crazy paranoid. Living in the US, maybe it's something that you just don't notice. But, like, as soon as you leave the US, you will notice that, Americans are crazy paranoid. And I kind of blame the media for this one. Reason number 6. Let's talk about something that I have never noticed outside the US. Goodwills and thrift stores. Oh my freaking gosh. Only in the US these things exist like they do. Okay, I can think of so many places, so many thrift stores, so many Goodwills that are just massive. And when you walk inside, they are filled with stuff. I was in London like a couple weeks ago, and I was looking for a thrift store. They just don't exist. Like they don't exist. They don't exist. Like, you may find 1 or 2, but you're not going to find nowhere is the amount that you would find in the US. It's crazy. Goodwill is like how many millions and millions of dollars do they make? And it's a company that literally takes stuff that people give them free and they resell it. Like, that's how much stuff people buy in the US and just say, oh, I don't want this anymore, I want a new one. I don't want this anymore, I want a new one. I don't want this anymore, I want a new one. I know so many people in my hometown, they will literally go out and buy like a new couch for their living room. They'll go buy a new TV. They'll go buy new pictures on the wall. And like, they literally did the same thing the year before. They just bought all new stuff just because they just wanted all brand new stuff. That's why thrift stores are so packed, because people always are throwing out like perfectly good stuff. One thing I notice in like Europe and also in a lot of Asian countries, people tend to buy stuff and they'll just use it until it's no longer good. Like, they'll buy a couch and just keep it for 10 years. They'll keep the couch until it rips. They'll keep it until there's a stain on it. I know so many people back home, they'll just buy something new just to buy something new. They'll just buy something new just because it's on sale. They'll just buy it just because, yo, come over to my house. I just got this new leather couch that cost me $1,000. Like, $1,000 for a leather couch? Man, you know what you can do with $1,000 in the stock market with passive income? Yo, maybe you don't, because you had to get that couch. Reason number 7, you're not beautiful enough. Now, this one's kind of weird. I feel like in the media, they show this image that this is what you should look like, this is what you should be like. They do this for women, and they also do this for guys. Now, they don't do it as much for guys, but they definitely do it for guys, because guys, you gotta be this strong, you gotta have a six-pack, you gotta be like this, you know what I mean? And with girls, I mean, oh my gosh, you guys already know how it is with, you gotta be this small, you gotta wear this, you gotta fit into this little tiny outfit. Look, guys, you don't have to be perfect. Life is not about this picture perfect image. Life is about being happy, and you don't necessarily have to go out and spend $5,000 on a surgery to be happy. I feel a lot of people think this. I know a handful of people who have had surgeries, and did the surgery make them that glamorous person that they thought that they were gonna be? Chances are it probably didn't make them that person. They ever admit it to themselves? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But guys, you don't, just because you see some image on TV, you don't have to look like that. Come on, don't stress yourself out. I mean, if you don't want to go to the gym 2 hours every day, 7 days a week, I sure wouldn't do it. Now, reason number 8, materialism. Now, I'm not going to talk about this one too much, but I will say that I feel that a lot of people in the U.S. are super materialistic. You gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta have this. I mean, for example, like I said, I've been backpacking through Europe for a couple of weeks, and gosh, you have no idea how many people I've seen with iPhone 5s. Gosh, back in the U.S., literally no one has an iPhone 5. Even if you gave your old iPhone to your grandma, chances are your grandma probably got an iPhone 6 by now. But yo, I see so many people with iPhone 5s around here. But once again, in the U.S., everybody's got to jump on that iPhone 10. Everyone's got to get the latest thing. Now, look, I'm not going to knock that, because as soon as the new GoPro comes out, I'm going to be the first one to get it the day when it comes out. And maybe this is something I kind of need to work on myself, because certain things when it comes to tech, I just got to have it. And a lot of times I'm sort of able to justify going out and buying it because I'm using it to make money, but usually I don't just go out and buy stuff for myself a lot, especially something that's brand new. But yeah, materialism is a big thing in our country. I mean, gosh, just look at the thrift stores in the US versus thrift stores around the world. That'll just give you an idea right there. So reason number 9, things that I don't like about the US. What's up with the media in the US? If you actually watch this video to this part, this is where it starts to get important, because the media in the U.S. is, I don't know what to say about it. They basically, they portray certain people in society as one way. They portray other people another way. The media teaches people who don't know a lot about our country, a lot about our country. Now, I understand the media that is shown within the U.S. is a different type of media versus the media that's shown outside the U.S. Some of the media in the U.S. is pretty bad, and it really sickens me sometimes. It's one reason why I don't watch TV at all. A lot of TV shows I don't watch. I mean, what's up with the Kim Kardashian show? This is the biggest thing now, and it's, I mean, come on. I'm not trying to bash the Kardashians, but that's not the best image that I don't think that's the best image. I'm not saying Kim Kardashian is an unattractive person, but just this is what we show in the U.S. now. We show stuff it's all reality TV basically, and yeah, I'm gonna just go on to the next one, because the Kardashian and the real life and next. Reason number 10, these are in no order, but this one, it just comes at number 1. Gentrification. A lot of people in the U.S. will probably disagree with me on the whole gentrification problem that's happening throughout the U.S., because maybe you just don't really know about it because you don't live in certain areas. But gentrification in certain parts of the U.S. is, I've lived in San Francisco for the past 5 years, the Bay Area, and I've seen it just firsthand. I've seen what it does, and this is a pretty sad thing. Now, this is not only going on in the U.S. This is going on in a lot of cities around the world. And basically, if you don't know what gentrification is when you take an area that maybe it wasn't the most popular area, maybe it wasn't the most desirable area, and slowly people sort of move in and people buy stuff and they just jack the prices up, and it comes to a point where the people that once lived there can no longer afford to live there. And it's not only they can't afford to live there, but just their community has completely changed. The convenience store they used to go to, it's changed. The restaurants that they used to go to, it's changed. The people that used to live in the neighborhood, it's all changed. Prices have probably, maybe doubled, if not tripled. I mean, think about it. prices tripling. This is a thing, especially in San Francisco, especially all over the San Francisco Bay Area. Like, it has displaced so many people, and this is a huge problem. And I don't know how it's gonna change. I don't know how it's gonna stop. Usually markets like correct themselves, but I mean, this market, we are still waiting on this market to correct itself. And if this market corrects itself, I mean, what does that really mean at the end of the day? Does that mean prices are going to be cheaper, or does that mean prices are going to be more expensive? I mean, the gentrification thing really sucks, because right now in the US, you have a lot of young people. They want to live in cities. You have all the jobs that are in cities. So now you got this double-edged sword. Everyone wants to live in the city. Young people want to live in the city. Jobs are in the city. College students, they want to study and live in the city because, dude, cities are awesome. The US does not have a lot of cities. Like, not like cities like San Francisco and New York. It don't have a lot of cities like that. So, gosh, like, I've literally watched prices in San Francisco and New York go through the roof, and it's gentrification. Like, people want to live in San Francisco. People want to live in Brooklyn, and prices are just going up like crazy. And thought I would make a video just talking about some of the things I dislike about the US. I kind of wanted to make this a positive video. I didn't want to make this like a negative video, but I just wanted to make a video and just be real, because there's a lot of things about my country that I just don't like. Yeah, there's a lot of things about my country I don't like. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, yo.